Should you prune the suckers from your vining tomato plants? That's the question we're going to answer in today's video. Welcome to Gardenary. Garden plus ordinary, that equals Gardenary. Gardenary is all about making the garden an ordinary part of your everyday life once again. So whether you're a beginner gardener who's just getting started, or you're an experienced gardener who's ready to start your own garden coach business, or somewhere in between, Gardenary is the place for you. So subscribe to our channel. What are you waiting for? Hit that bell so you know every time we drop an important video like this one, all about suckers on your tomato plants. Let's get started. Okay, so the question is, should you prune the suckers on your tomato plants? First of all, we're going to talk about what is a sucker. Then we're going to talk about why you would prune them and why you wouldn't. And then I'm going to tell you what I do to get awesome, beautiful tomato plants. Do you think I prune the suckers? What do you think? All right, so let's dive in first and talk about what a sucker actually is. I don't even know why suckers are named suckers, so I'll have to look that up for you. But suckers are this extra vine that starts to grow on a vining tomato. So determinate tomatoes are bush tomatoes. They may have little suckers on them, but we're not talking about those kind of tomatoes. So if you've bought a tomato that says bush, patio, or determinate tomato, those are plants you don't want to be pruning because they're meant to just grow to a certain size and stop and produce all at once. So we're not talking about those. So if those are the kind of tomatoes you're growing, just plug your ears and watch another video. But this is for indeterminate tomatoes, vining tomatoes. These are tomatoes that'll grow and grow and keep growing until the conditions aren't right for them to grow anymore. And they produce this thing that we call suckers. So suckers are from the main stem. So you have a main stem of your tomato, and then you have the little leafy stems, right? That's just a natural thing that plants do. But tomatoes also produce this simple little new vine right there in the elbow. I like to say it's the elbow of the plant. That, my friends, is called a sucker. That, my friends, is called another sucker. As you can see, there are a lot of suckers. It doesn't suck though. So here's the deal. If you prune your suckers, the dogs got excited about the suckers. All right, so if you prune your suckers, everyone likes to say that when you prune suckers, you'll get bigger tomatoes. You'll get probably less tomatoes, but they'll be bigger. If you don't prune your suckers, you'll get smaller tomatoes, but you'll get more. So it's up to you. Do you want bigger tomatoes or do you want more tomatoes? That is the key question you got to ask when you decide whether you're going to prune your suckers or not. So for years, I pruned all the suckers because all the gardeners told me to. I mean, even here on YouTube, when they said prune the suckers, I did it. And what happened is I did get a good number of beautiful tomatoes, but I also had all these things riding on those few tomatoes, like, will the squirrels eat them? Will the hornworms get to them? What if they don't ripen in time? And so I was kind of hedging all my bets on just a few tomatoes that I wanted to get really big. So over the years, I realized, you know what? I don't care how big my tomatoes are. I just want a lot of them. Because if I have a lot of tomatoes, then even if some of them get eaten by squirrels or some of them don't fully ripen before the end of the season, I'm gonna get as many tomatoes as I possibly can. So that's the answer to your question. Nope, I don't prune my suckers. I even got this advice from a guy, Brad Gates. He's from Wild Boar Farms, and he develops the most incredible types of tomato plants. I've grown a bunch of them. I'm growing them in my garden this year, and he gave me the same advice. Now, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure I got some of this advice from him. So, but I do prune, okay? I do prune my plants. I just don't prune the suckers. So let me show you what I do. So when I go into my plant and I want to do some pruning and cleaning up, I will look at the space where the suckers are starting to grow, and I will actually prune the other stem, not the sucker. So right here on this little area we were looking at where I've got the sucker growing, I'm going to come in with my pruners and I'm going to actually prune that stem. What? Yes. Why do I do that? Because this stem is never going to produce any flowers or fruit. But guess what this little sucker is going to do? It's going to produce flowers and fruit. That's actually what suckers are doing. They're creating a whole new vine, a whole new plant that's going to flower and fruit. This one, Never gonna do anything with flowers and fruit. So I'll literally go through my plant and do this very thing. Let me show you an example of what a sucker becomes. So do you see this main vine? This is the key vine here, right? Here is the leaf node that comes naturally off the vine. I'm gonna prune that one off, and you can see the sucker here, and look what this beautiful little sucker is doing. It's growing and producing new fruit. So if I had cut that sucker away like other gardeners have told me to do, I'd be missing all the promise of this nice new fruit. And that would just, should we say, suck. Sorry, if the kids are watching, don't say that. Only mommies can say that. Okay, so that's my tip. That's what I do with suckers. I don't prune them. I actually prune the other stems. So instead of pruning the sucker, I go through and pretty regularly, I would say at least once a week, I'll go check my vine and look for where the suckers are. And when I see a sucker, like say here, when I see the sucker here forming, I'll go to the other leaf node, cut it back, and then I'll know that in a short period of time, this little sucker is gonna grow out, branch, flower, and fruit, and I'll get new fruit from the sucker. So you have to make the call. Do you want less fruit, but for it to be bigger? Or do you want more fruit and have a chance that it might be smaller? For me, I'm on the team more fruit. So you can decide after watching this video if you're gonna cut the suckers or if you're gonna let the suckers go and cut these other guys. I would love to hear in the comments below which team you're on, big fruit or more fruit. And let's have a little competition. We'll see what's more popular and if you guys think my method might work for you too. Listen, if you want to find out how to bring your gardening skills to the next level, we have a green thumb quiz that'll help you do just that. It's just a few quick questions that ask you about your own garden experience, your thoughts about where you are right now, and at the end of the quiz, we'll tell you what kind of gardener we think you are and give you access to free resources that'll help you grow to the next level. So check it out at the bottom of this video. It's called the Green Thumb Quiz, and we're gonna help you find your green thumb too. So check it out, and thanks so much for watching the Gardenary channel. I'll see you next time.